Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this twin flame reading today. Hope you guys are doing well. It is Thursday today, and I hope that you guys have all been having a great week. I definitely have. It's been extremely busy, but it's been really, really good. And so I hope that yours is good and productive, and also what you're dreaming it up to be. We're going to talk a little bit about that today, I think. I am using this tarot deck that is new. I've had it for a while, but I haven't used it. So I had to shuffle it about 15,000 times before I could do this reading for you today. So I assure you it is very, very well shuffled. I'm going to shuffle it a few more times right now, but it's so cool because it is a Alice in Wonderland tarot deck, and I love Alice in Wonderland. I have a bunch of things in my office decorated with, Alice in Wonderland quotes and art, things like that, because as I went through my spiritual awakening, I started to realize that a lot of movies and a lot of cartoons, especially some of the more well-known ones, or even some of the older ones, they're all kind of pointing at a spiritual awakening, or what happens to us when we go through a spiritual awakening. And Alice in Wonderland is absolutely 100% all about a spiritual awakening. She's in this dreamy place. Everything is kind of peaceful. She gets a little bit bored. She falls asleep, and she goes through this rabbit hole into this world where everything just seems so confusing. So it's kind of like our experience of being born into this world, right? We are eternal beings. We're in a beautiful and peaceful place. We come here and we're born into kind of what seems like confusing chaos. And as Alice in Wonderland goes through this journey, she meets a lot of different characters along the way that help her through all of this confusion. And, ultimately, though, the answer that she's looking for is found within her. And towards the end, when she's, dealing with all this duality and she doesn't know who to trust, and she's just like all twisted up, she suddenly comes to the realization that, none of this can actually hurt her. And then she wakes back up again and remembers who she is and what's really going on. And, she's back in that peaceful place. And that's kind of like what happens to us when we go through an awakening. We remember who we are. And the process of that can seem very scary or confusing. And that's why I love Alice in Wonderland, because, it kind of incorporates all the mysterious and scary, yet exhilarating and exciting and fun and just cool things that life is all about. I'm going to have to adjust this just a little bit. These cards are a little bit bigger than my other cards. So your twin flame is kind of like the little characters in Alice in Wonderland. They play a pivotal and important role in your awakening, no doubt. And they are kind of what causes you to fall down this rabbit hole that forces you into self-discovery and an awakening and a remembrance of who you are. But sometimes, especially in the beginning of all of this, it can seem extraordinarily confusing, which is why mentors and friends and family and books and synchronicities and all kinds of things find you along your path, guiding you back on that inward spiral to the center and the truth of who you really are, which is actually your twin flame. What we think is our twin flame, this other person, which some people refer to as other self or other, twin soul, other half. There's a lot of different things that, they call them the twin flame. The truth of the matter, though, is that the twin flame is really your soul. It's who you are. You are the twin flame. The twin flame is not something that you find outside of yourself, although we think that we have when we meet this other person. And I'm not saying that they're not your twin flame. It's just not. I know it can sound so confusing, but especially in the beginning. And if you stick around on this channel, we're really going to go into detail and in depth to explain all of this. But your twin flame on the outside is kind of like the difference in your one body with your two hands. You have two hands, but are you more the left hand than you are the right hand? Are you more the right hand than you are the left hand? No, you have two hands, right? So, two bodies, one soul. Now, the rest of the world might look at you like you're a little bit cuckoo or crazy for believing that, but you've experienced an experience that most people haven't gone through in life. And if people haven't experienced it, they're never going to understand it. I most certainly would not have. I would have scoffed and laughed and mocked probably anyone in my former life who tried to tell me this. I mean, I even did it to myself in the beginning. I was so confused, and I used to just go lay under the stars at night and talk to God because I was like, I think I'm losing my mind. I think I'm going crazy. I didn't know how to explain the things that were happening to me, to myself. One moment I'd be like, oh yeah, for sure, twin flames are real. There's nothing else that could explain this, and all the synchronicities and all of the, things that are happening. And then the next minute I'd be like, nope, no freaking way. There is no way the twin flames are real. That is such bullshit. And I just didn't believe it at all. But the truth of the matter is twin flames, it is a real phenomenon. There's a lot of people out there with a lot of explanations and theories on exactly what it is. There are some things that we know for sure, and there are other things that I think are purposely left mysterious for the mere fact that this is your journey and it's going to show up for you in a completely unique way. Because if we were able to find the answers on the outside of ourselves, we would never look in the place where the only true answers can really be found, which is inside of us. So everything outside of us is always going to point us like an arrow, sort of like Alice's journey back to the center of who we are, because the answers can't be found outside. If anything, that can just kind of lead you on these wild goose chases here, there, and everywhere. It's only when we go inside that we can decipher and understand and discern what's happening outside of us. So you got to go within first. It's just the way that it works. All right, at the bottom of the deck today, look how cool these cards are, you guys. I just love them. I love them. I think they're so cool. The artwork is so cool, the colors. So at the bottom of the deck today, we have the Chariot in reverse. The Chariot in reverse. So let's look at this and find out what is going on with you and your divine masculine. And yes, if you are here, it is most likely that you are the divine feminine, the positive polarity, because I won't say always, because I just don't believe that it's always. There's never anything set in stone. But if you are here, most likely you are the positive polarity in this dynamic with this other person, because it's the positive polarity that typically goes through an awakening experience from having met the other person. So you are probably what they call the divine feminine or the positive polarity. And so let's find out what's going on with you guys today. Looks like there is kind of a overall feeling in this reading today of kind of wanting to throw in the towel or just giving up, like, oh, this is just so overwhelming. This is too much to deal with. Information overload. Life is just coming at me so strong. Just want to like step back. That's kind of the overall reading today with the Chariot in reverse. But let's get in a little bit more into detail to find out maybe why that's there. It looks like there has been some pretty serious dishonesty and deception happening for Divine Masculine. And maybe this is something that you're experiencing as well, Divine Feminine. My readings incorporate both Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine perspectives in every single card almost, because after all, you are one, not two. And so I want you to kind of look at this from different perspectives when you're looking at it from the Divine Masculine versus the Divine Feminine. Now, what really only matters to you, Divine Feminine, is how these cards actually are affecting you and the mirror in your existence, the mirror in your life, the mirror universe that we're all experiencing. But I say this because focusing on the Divine Masculine is focusing outside of yourself. Answers are only found from within, so you got to look within, right? If you're focusing on the Divine Masculine, you're missing the mark. You're not looking where you should be for answers and direction. So it doesn't mean, though, that you can't look at this from a Divine Masculine perspective as to how it may apply to you. Like what you can do about it, not how you can change things for Divine Masculine, not how you can make things different or, cause them to do things differently in order to get what you want. It's more of how am I looking at the Divine Masculine and what's going on, and how is my perspective, my perception of the Divine Masculine impacting me and having an effect on my life and the decisions that I am making. So that's a little bit of insight into making this journey about you. That's what this is supposed to be about. You are the twin flame. This journey is your journey and you are one, not two. It looks like in Divine Masculine's karmic situation in life, and probably in certain ways in yours as well, there is maybe some financial stuff, maybe someone that they know has spent too much money and it's creating a disruption in financial stability, which is then creating a fear and a lack mentality, and then that's bleeding over into how day-to-day life is experienced and the overall mood and feeling. So it could be Divine Masculine that's doing this. It could be someone, or even a job that they could have where maybe the boss, or the owner of the company isn't necessarily making the best decisions, and this could have an impact on Divine Masculine and their career. This is something that it could be a lover or a wife or a husband where they're not really making good decisions, or it could be Divine Masculine's making terrible decisions and it's affecting the wife. There's different ways that this can play out, but essentially something along those lines seems to be having an impact on Divine Masculine's life. It's entirely possible that there could be something somewhat like that going on in yours as well. It may not even be financial. It could be something where, it could be like some kind of like an emotional withholding or something as well. That could be that could be taking place, rather than just really divulging and putting out there how things are really being viewed or felt emotionally. Like, there's lots of different types of wealth in our lives. There's time, there's money, there's attention, there's food, love. Like, there's a lot of different ways that we can accumulate or think of being rich or having wealth. So it could be other areas like that are affecting divine masculine, not necessarily just money. Now, interestingly, in almost a complete opposite of what's going on in the karmic situation, with the Sun and the Nine of Wands in reverse, it looks like abundance and fulfillment and material wealth, like an understanding, free exchange of love and emotional intimacy. Those kinds of things are really something that divine masculine has experienced with you in an extraordinarily healthy way. It gave divine masculine and you perspective on relationships and many other areas of life, spiritually, how, healing, trust, those kinds of things were things that you and divine masculine experienced with each other in a way that was very unworldly, and it had an incredible impact on both of you, which, since prior to meeting, there were areas where divine masculine and you have felt lack and abandonment or just neglect. The two of you showed up for each other in a way that neither one of you had ever experienced, which is why you had such an incredible impact on each other. Right now, it looks like maybe old patterns have kind of cropped back up in the current situation for divine masculine and you. Maybe old habits die hard, and certain things still need to be looked at and processed. But after having gone through such a tremendous experience in recent past with you, divine masculine is absolutely feeling some pretty deep loneliness. Maybe the two of you are not talking as much. Maybe something has happened because of these old habits coming back, mentally and emotionally. There's been some kind of distancing between the two of you that really has divine masculine feeling sadness, loneliness, and they've kind of retreated into a little bit of an inner isolation. Towards the karmic situation right now, divine masculine is looking at this and saying, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to process it. I've made so many errors in judgment, and I don't know how to pick up the pieces and make things good again. And there's this feeling of comparison now that judgment and transformation, which is the death card, have come up in reverse. It shows me that divine masculine is really looking at their life and going, holy crap. It's like a serious, self-inquiry, like, what have I done? How did I get here? This isn't how I dreamed my life to be when I started out on this journey when I was younger. I envisioned it and planned for it to look differently than it does. And there's a disappointment, especially because divine masculine has experienced something with you that they've never experienced before. And it's causing them to look through a critical lens at what they have right now. And that's a good thing, but it also can sometimes be a bad thing. Just like everything, there's always duality. It's really good for divine masculine to look at things with, with discernment, and to say, have I really created what I wanted here? Have I really made good decisions? Can I improve? That's good to do. But at the same time, sometimes we can have patterns that cause us to look at things that we could look at it through a negative lens or a positive lens. And sometimes we develop these patterns where we look at everything through a negative lens and we can't see the blessings that we really truly have and what we've really been given. And we're not looking at things through a lens of gratitude and appreciation. Instead, we're looking at things critically and, with a lack of trust and, and with the lack of confidence. And so I think that might be kind of what's going on a little bit right now, is that maybe there's a glass half empty instead of a glass half full approach to everything. Because even if we are in situations that don't work out well for us, that doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't meant to happen. Sometimes this is what transmutation is. And when we can take something that seems to be negative and transmute it into something positive, then we're seeing both sides of the coin, and we're kind of mastering that key right there and recognizing that when things don't work out like we wanted, we know that there was still a purpose in it to show us, because sometimes in order to know what you really do want, you have to first know what you don't want. So is it bad to go through that? No, actually it's good, because then we have a little bit more clarity, and sometimes clarity is exactly what the universe is trying to give us. Towards you right now, Divine Feminine, it seems like Divine Masculine is kind of looking at you and what has transpired between the two of you in the past with a lot of regret. And the reason why is they look back on this with nostalgia, and they miss you. They miss their experience with you. And they know that they did some things where they weren't necessarily, like maybe they were wearing a mask. They weren't necessarily upfront about who they were. It might have been insecurity or fear that they wouldn't be accepted for who they really were. Maybe they didn't want to hurt your feelings or somebody else's feelings by being open and honest. Like maybe they had a lot of feelings for you, but because they're in a relationship with someone else, they don't want to hurt the other person because they have a good heart and they do care about this other person. Or maybe they feel like they were hurting you by being deceptive, and maybe they weren't really being honest about the relationship that they were in. There's a lot of different ways that this can manifest in your journey with your Divine Masculine. But either way, the truth of the matter is that Divine Masculine doesn't feel like they were really being authentic. And that doesn't mean that it came from a place of malice or that they were trying to deceive. It was more that they didn't, the feeling behind it is that they feel guilty, or they feel like they didn't honor themselves, they didn't honor you, they didn't honor the people in their lives by being true and open about their real feelings. And I think it's because they just didn't know how to process that at the time. And so now that they've gained some clarity, maybe they're processing it with a better lens, a better filter, but they have a lot of remorse about some of the things that they've done, and they if they could do it again, they would do it differently. Let's just say that. In the near future, Divine Masculine and you, Divine Feminine, in kind of a simultaneous and synchronistic way, are going to experience a leveling up, a serious leveling up, like everything that has happened in my life has happened for a reason, and I can see how it all syncs together, and the divine timing that it all happened in shows me that I've always been on my path, whether I recognize it or not. I can sit back, relax, and just trust that things are happening as they should. And this is going to bring a sense of really deep inner peace, because transmutation has been understood, right? Which is what we were talking about a minute ago, is being able to take the good and the bad and recognize that they're just polarities of the same thing and two sides of one coin. And you can look at things from different perspectives, but when you can see both sides, then you can make a choice rather than just feeling like life is throwing you to and fro and you have no control. You can make a choice, and then that's when real change can take effect. And so it's a pretty big leveling up for Divine Masculine and for you. And I think you're going to see the effects of that in your everyday life. And you're going to see from a distance how it's affecting your Divine Masculine's life as well. In an uncanny twist of fate, Divine Masculine's karmic situation is going to resolve itself in a very easy and pleasant way for Divine Masculine. It's going to just seem like all of a sudden their path is cleared. What they really need and want in life is going to just be so obviously in front of them, and then they're going to be able to just sit back and enjoy the journey, which means when things that are not meant to be in Divine Masculine's life start to fall away, it's not really going to rock Divine Masculine's boat. It doesn't mean that they won't experience any sadness. I mean, a lot of times when we close the door on things in our life, we do experience some sadness because we appreciated it. And that's sometimes when we appreciate it the most, is when we no longer have it. However, Divine Masculine, through that lesson of transmutation, is going to be able to see that things happen for a reason. And when you let something go, the end is always the beginning. Or as my sweet little daughter said to me the other day, "Hey Mom, did you know that every ending is also a beginning?" And I said, "How did you know that?" She's so smart. She's only 8 years old. And she thought she came up with that all on her own. And really she did. Somehow she just innately understood that and was sharing it with me. But it was so cool to see her come up with that on her own and recognize that every ending is also a beginning. So, it's that circle or cycle of life that we go through. And so it seems like ups and downs, but when you learn and understand that there's always two sides to every coin, you can always look at both of them and see the positive and the silver lining. And so Divine Masculine is seeing that, which is giving them this super excited, renewed energy that is the opposite of what they started out with, right? They're like, "I don't want to throw the towel anymore. I'm just excited." So they started out kind of feeling like that in the beginning, and now they're like, "All right, I got this. I know that I'm being lifted up and I'm being held up. And even when I feel like I'm lost, I'm really not lost, because the universe, source, spirit, always knows where I'm at. And so therefore I can never be lost." Towards you, Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine is feeling a resurgence of excitement and is really embracing the experiences that they've had with you. They've got a deep, deep admiration for who you are and what you represent in their path and in their journey. And they are going to come to you with a much more free-spirited, lighthearted approach, and maybe to say thank you and to really probably just give you like a hug and really communicate to you how you've affected them. And they may talk very, very quickly and may even kind of babble on because there's so much energy behind it. But it's this renewal of everything's okay. This person has had a tremendous impact on me. I just want to let them know, and maybe celebrate the connection that the two of us have, that inseparable connection. Because connection, just because we're not in each other's physical presence, doesn't mean that the connection isn't there, right? The connection is there regardless. Physical presence doesn't mean that there is, we can be connected to people that have passed away that we don't ever even get to see anymore, but we are still absolutely energetically connected to them. You and your divine masculine are energetically connected. They recognize that and they want to celebrate that, Don't, when that happens, just like in the reading from the other day, don't let that throw you off, divine feminine. Stand in the truth of who you are, knowing that the universe has your back and that everything's going to happen the way that it's meant to happen. One soul, two bodies. One body, two hands. This isn't more my body than this is, right? Two bodies, one soul. One body's not more you than the other. Okay? Don't let that throw you off. Remember who you are. You are the twin flame. You are the soul. All right, I'm going to do an oracle card for you guys. And I really like this deck a lot. I haven't used it for a while, but I'm kind of excited to use it today. I just think it's a cool deck. So my light is so close to me over here. I have to kind of squeeze in. I don't have enough space. We have tons of stuff coming down the pipeline for you. So if you guys have not already done so, we are a new channel and it would be very much appreciated if you would hit the like on our videos and subscribe if you haven't already done so and you find value in the content that we are creating. We are putting all of our heart, our knowledge, our love, and our soul into this. And love for you to be a part of it because we know that you are equally yoked in that. You are a spiritually connected person, and that is the kinds of people that I like to be surrounded by. So please like and subscribe, and in our comments and in our about section on the YouTube page, if you want to talk with either of us or any of us personally, you can set up a one-on-one. And we are also in the process of, starting some other social medias. Right now, we don't have a lot going on with those yet, but soon we will. Soon we will. So go ahead and follow us so that as we develop all this really, really cool stuff, you guys will be the first ones to get it. All right, I got these shuffled. Let's see which one of my fingers has the divine spark today. I like this deck because look how smooth, like butter. It just, whew, so perfect. Some of my other decks are so sticky, I gotta figure out what to do with them. Well, ooh, that one was, I was about to say I didn't feel anything, and then all of a sudden I did. Ew. This is my opposite sign here. I am a Gemini, and this is Sagittarius. That's a really cool looking card. I've never pulled this one before. Kind of excited to see what it's about. Let me get my book and I will read it to you. So this is the Oracle of Transcendence Oracle deck. I really like it. So let's find out what this Oracle card says from Sagittarius. The symbol of Sagittarius is the centaur. Its traditional dates are November 22nd through December 21st, with the 13th zodiac incorporated. Its new dates are December 17th through January 20th. Sagittarius is the mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter and representing philosophy, motion, experimentation, and optimism. All fire signs have in common the desire for freedom of action and the power to do what they wish. When Sagittarius appears, it is a signal that it is time for motion and for trying something new. Hobby, career, or activity. Change prevents stagnation. Act now. Refer to the Jupiter Fire cards for additional clarification and information. Now, this was not inverted, so we're not going to read that. I think this is really cool because to me it embodies sort of the spirit of this reading. Change has been in the air, and transmutation, taking things to the next level and moving into take action to create the life that you want rather than to just settle for what you think life is just giving you. When you understand transmutation and how you can change that, and you can change yourself from the inside, then the world takes a completely different shape around you. And that's the push that I feel like you and Divine Masculine are on, and the purpose of the meeting between the two of you. It seems to always kind of be a thing with Twin Flames. It's all about journeying back to the center and the truth of who we really are, which is where we find the true twin flame, which is the soul, which is who you really actually are when we let go of worldly illusion. So I love you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. Looking forward to my next reading and to the opportunity to speak with some of you. You take care. Mwah. Bye.